All right, everybody, welcome back to the OffBeat Sports Podcast presented by iSide. Today we're joined by Coach Steve Spott, assistant coach for the Boston Bruins, and we appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it, and I look forward to chatting and get to know you guys a little bit as well.
So you played collegiate hockey at Colgate before playing professionally for a few different squads. So how would you say having that ability to play hockey at a high level prepared you for your career in coaching?
Well, I was real lucky. As you mentioned, I went to Colgate University. I graduated in 1990, and Colgate, very much like Holy Cross, is a small liberal arts school. And my senior year at Colgate, we had the opportunity and good fortune, really, to play for a national championship. So for a small liberal arts college in the ECAC to play against the Wisconsin Badgers in a national championship final was something that I'll never forget. Um, and really, what it did through the leadership of our coach, Terry Slater, at the time, was really prepare us not only for our careers, but also for life. He did a tremendous job on and off the ice, preparing us young men for what was to come. And to this day, I often recognize him, for the opportunities that I've had because of the lessons I learned from him.
Yeah, so one of the teams that you coached prior to reaching the NHL level was the Plymouth Whalers, where this was the first time where you crossed paths with Coach DeBoer, one of the good friends of our podcast. Just kind of wondering if you could talk to us about your relationship with him and kind of how you guys have been able to achieve such great success as a tandem, coaching together.
Well, I spoke with Pete this morning actually, which was nice. We had an opportunity to catch up, and he was talking to me a little bit about his Olympic experience, and I was letting him know about so far how things are going here in Boston off the ice. So it was good catching up, and we have a relationship that's not only professional but personal. You guys all know that Matthew DeBoer, who's with you guys at Holy Cross, is my godson, and so our relationship really transcends the rink. We lean on each other for advice for different situations, but when we are in the office, when we have worked together, I do respect that boundary where he is the boss. Ultimately, he makes final decisions. And the one thing Pete's always done over the years, guys, and it's good advice for any young professional, is he's never micromanaged me. He's given me the opportunity to feel like I was part of decisions. He gives me autonomy to do different things. So I've often, talked about that and reflected upon that, where he was a great leader to work for. Obviously, one of the best coaches in the world. So to have the experience to work with him for as long as I did, I greatly appreciate that.
So seeing as you've kind of known Pete for such a long time, both when you guys were younger and also having coached with him for a while, do you have any funny or memorable stories about being with him with all of these various teams?
There was always practical jokes. I think anybody that knows our relationship, he has to be the principal. I can be the vice principal. So for me, I'm kind of a conduit between the locker room and his office, and I've always tried to keep things a little bit lighter when times were tense. But there's been a number of jokes and a number of times over the years where we've played jokes and pranks on each other, and he's always taken that with great humor. Well, one thing about Pete, anyone that knows Pete off the ice, is he does have a tremendous sense of humor. But there's been a number of times where he's been the butt of my practical jokes, and he's handled them well, and I'll miss doing that with him.
So how do you like Boston so far? I mean, it's a new city for you. How are you liking it?
It's been great. My son Tyler went to school at Northeastern, so my son, had a great 4 years here in Boston. My wife and I got to know the city a little bit as visitors, but now to be here and actually move into Charlestown and understand, the history and the culture of this city, it's been wonderful off the ice. So, we're excited. It's a little bit different than Dallas, Texas. Obviously, it's a lot more condensed. There's a lot less closet space in our house here than we had in Dallas, but that's all part of city living. So it's nice to walk to the grocery stores. I'm learning how to parallel park again. Just a lot of differences, but for my wife Lisa and I, we're excited to be here in Boston, be back in the East. My family's predominantly in Toronto, so it's nice to be closer to home and have the opportunity to share this now with some family as well.
Yeah, so prior to coming to Boston, you worked as an assistant for various teams, even having the opportunity to coach in a Stanley Cup in 2016 with the Sharks and coaching in multiple Western Conference Finals with the Stars over the past few years. So talk to us about how this experience in your coaching career at this high level of play can help a first-time head coach in Marco Sturm with what should be a younger Bruins team this season.
Yeah, it's a great question. We definitely have a younger staff. Obviously Marco was a first time head coach, but his playing experience, his coaching experience at the international level, as an assistant in Los Angeles, as a head coach in the American Hockey League, he has a wealth of experience in coaching and playing. He just hasn't done it as a head coach yet. But having watched him over the last week, you can see why he's so well respected, not only by his peers, but by the players that play for him. He's just got a great feel and a great presence. So I'm looking forward to working with him. Obviously, I know Jay Leach from working against Jay when he was in Seattle, and then Chris Kelly, a player that I've always admired watching as a coach. He always played the right way. So I'm really looking forward to working with Chris as well.
So as you know, the Bruins employ one of the best forwards in the game in David Pastrnak. So just kind of wondering what you've seen from him, both having to coach and game plan against him versus now being on his side here in Boston, and what do you really expect for him to achieve this season?
I met with David yesterday for the first time. He's a confident young man. One thing that really resonated with me was his passion to win. He talked about that. He's obviously played on some great Bruin teams with great players such as Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand. So he wants to get back there. He's not happy with how things worked out last year, and I think he's motivated to turn this season around. So the one thing I came out of yesterday with was his passion to want to win. And for a coach, that's exactly what you want from your best players. So, it'll be a lot easier working with him on the power play and 5-on-5 than coaching against him because we all know how lethal he is offensively. So, really excited. Just to see his passion yesterday and his excitement for the game made me excited. So I'm really looking forward to getting on the ice with him.
So you mentioned Pasternak playing with guys like Brad Marchand. Like in this year's Bruins are kind of seen as a team in between eras after getting rid of Brad, Patrice retiring, and players such as that. So what would you say are some of the goals that you believe the team has this season that are kind of within the realm of possibility?
We want to be a hard competitive team. I think when you look at the makeup of our lineup, we're going to be a physical team. I think you're going to see some of the old Boston Bruin type physicality. When you look at Jeannot, when you look at Zadorov, when you look at Yzermont, we've got some players that play a hard physical game. So I think we're going to be hard to play against. The challenge for us is we're going to have to find ways to manufacture offense. That's not a secret, but we're going to need Jeremy Swayman to be great in goal. I like our back end. We just have to find ways to manufacture offense. Our 5-on-5 game and our power play, it's going to be very important for them to contribute to help us score some goals. But again, we just want to be hard competitive and be one of those teams that is pushing for a playoff spot because, as we all know, it's just a matter of getting in the playoffs. Once you get in, it's anybody's opportunity to have success.
For sure. And you mentioned Jeremy Swayman, who last year definitely had a down year after really kind of coming out in the playoffs the previous year. Do you think that kind of could be come down to he had a late start with the contract negotiations, and do you expect to have him come out stronger earlier this year?
There's no doubt. I think for us and our success, I think that Jeremy's going to be a big piece. Just we talked about David Pasternak, Charlie McAvoy on the back end. Obviously Jeremy and net, and any team that has success in this league, as you guys both know, it starts with goaltending. It starts with starting pitching in baseball. It starts with your quarterback in football. So for Jeremy, he's a huge piece for us. We know that he knows that, and I know he's excited to get back to the level that he's been at, and obviously not only for the Boston Bruins, but for USA Hockey and a potential to represent his country at the Olympics this winter.
Mm. So enough with the tough questions. We're gonna go into some fun ones for you. So, who's the toughest player you've ever had to scheme against?
Offensively, there's been a number of guys, obviously, that I've had an opportunity to coach or against. Having coached Joe Thornton stands out as a player for me. That his passion for the game on and off the ice probably is as elite as I've ever had the opportunity to coach. In junior, it would be Gabe Landeskog, who was my captain with the Kitchener Rangers and now the captain of the Colorado Avalanche. And just overall, working with Joe Pavelski is something that every coach should have the opportunity to do. So those are guys that I've worked with. Um, Coaching against, obviously when you look at Crosby, we lost to Sydney in 2016 and the Stanley Cup final. When you look at Crosby, McDavid now, Nathan McKinnon in Colorado, Cale Makar in Colorado. These are just world class players. The league is getting so talented now. I think fans, people were worried about maybe the league getting watered down with 32 teams, but I can tell you as a coach in this league, the talent level and the quality of play has never been higher.
So seeing as you both had, somewhat of a professional career, more so for him than you, but who would you say is a better overall hockey player, you or Coach DeBoer?
Player? Oh, that's a good debate, boys. I'll tell you, and I hope he watches this podcast. Um, he was a good player. You can't deny that. We often talk about how skilled. We saw the numbers he put up in junior, but I often say there's no way he could have played college hockey as well as I did. So he went the junior route. I went the college route. It's a healthy debate. We always kid each other about it, but at the end of the day, I think ultimately he would have been the better pro than me.
Who would you say is better all time, Sidney Crosby or Ovechkin?
Oh gosh, guys, these are the tough ones now. Um, I would take either one of them. Obviously, for me, it's the longevity of both of their careers to continue to do it at the level that they're doing it every night. They have different qualities. Obviously, when you look at Alexander Ovechkin, if you're a penalty kill coach, you know where he's going to be looking to score from, and he still finds ways to do it. And when you look at Sidney Crosby, just his passion to play in every situation at the biggest moments, it's hard. But I would take either one of them on my hockey club. But obviously, being north of the border, I obviously a huge Sidney Crosby fan.
So the next one we have is could be hockey related or really any sport related, but your favorite sports movie of all time.
Well, Slapshot obviously comes to the forefront when you think about Slapshot. A lot of fun facts about that movie. Obviously, part of it was actually filmed at Colgate University in Hamilton, New York. So, obviously, I've got a little bit of an emotional tie to that movie. Slapshot for me was one of the greatest hockey movies of all time, and then when you look at Major League, and obviously you look at some of the baseball movies that have come out. There's a lot, but for me, Slapshot is far and away one of the best sports movies that I've seen.
Most of my hockey knowledge comes from Mighty Ducks, so I'm learning. I was a basketball guy. I'm learning hockey. I'm getting there. But who would you say is the funniest player you've ever coached in the NHL?
Joe Thornton, for sure. I talked about him earlier. He's a guy that he's funny, he's passionate, he's hard. For me, he really became a surrogate coach in the locker room between periods. He was before we would want to go and address a situation. Had already addressed it. Um, but then his kidding, his prankster play behind the curtain, the way he was with his teammates. Joe is one of the funniest guys that I've been around. So it was just such an honor now to see him going into the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's so fitting, and I'm just so fortunate, and I appreciate the fact that I had a chance to work with him.
All right, and that's all we got for you. Thank you, Coach, for joining us. We're excited to see the team this year, and hope to see you at a game.
Thanks, guys. Hope to get back on the show in the new year. I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome.
Of
Thank you
course.
so much. We'll see
Thanks,
you next
guys.
time.
Okay.
Call them all text.